Hi, welcome back to my channel. You copy? Started filming before I realized. Welcome to Psychic Grandma's channel. Thank you so much for watching my channels. I love all my friends out there. Thank you for subscribing and hitting that thumbs up. In this video, the message I would like to talk about is, I promise you, if you're grieving, your loved ones at this time, first of all, I want to say I'm so sorry for your loss. I really am. I know it's very hard. But like I said, if you are grieving a loved one at this time, I understand that type of pain. God, when I think about it, it feels like yesterday. But back in '81, I remember it was the first time I was ever pregnant. And I was a full term. I was a week before my due date, and I was gonna give birth to a baby boy. Anyways, I had a stillborn, and I remember when they let me out of the hospital, mostly, when I was in the hospital, and then when I came out, I was just so numb. I just felt like I was dead inside. Grieving is so hard, but it's a process that we all have to go through as humans. But I'm sorry about my throat. I've been having allergies all week. So anyways, I was saying, so when I got home, I was still feeling numb. But I'll never forget this. One day, I was leaning against, I think it was my bedroom wall. And I cried a little bit at the hospital, like the night that it happened, but really not much. I was so tired, I think I fell asleep. But anyways, so I was at home and I was leaning against the wall, and then out of the blue, I just dropped. I just slid down the wall and just dropped. Fell right on my butt. And actually, I had the crib up. I had my bedroom decorated. The baby was going to sleep in our bedroom and stuff. And I had a little stuffed animals and stuff. And I just, on the wall, when I slid down the wall, I could just look right at the crib. And I cried. I cried like a river. I mean, I didn't even think it was possible to cry that much. And I'm glad nobody was home. My husband wasn't home. Nobody was home. And because probably somebody would have thought somebody was getting murdered or something. And I don't know if I ever told anybody this, but it was so freaking painful. Actually, I found out later this was normal, but at the time I didn't know it was normal about somebody losing a child. But then what snapped me out of it is I heard a baby crying. And I'm like, what the heck? So I heard a baby crying. And they say that is normal if you lose a baby. I don't know if it's normal. I don't know if it was my psychic abilities. I didn't even know, I wasn't even thinking about that stuff at that time in my life. But I'll just never forget it. And then there was one time that I lost somebody. And I don't know if you ever been punched in the stomach before. But when they say like it hits you like somebody hit you in the gut, it's so painful you can't even breathe. Grieving can be that strong. Or you could be in a depression, for weeks, months, even years. some people. So it's really, really tough. And I feel like I told you in other videos, I lost a lot of loved ones too. So, I mean, I lost a sister, a son, a husband, you know, aunts, uncles, grandparents, you know, mother, sister, and so on, and boyfriends, but this is my opinion. I feel like when you grieve over somebody like a loved one, sometimes the pain of it is at different levels depending on who you lost. It's just like love, like you can love people differently, where you can grieve people. All people do grieve differently, but the level of the grief and how it is, the way it feels, can't really explain it, but the way the grief feels can be different for a certain loved one that you lost too. Like, say, losing your grandmother or your mother or a child or whatever. Just like how you can love your children. You know, you love all your children, but you kind of love them differently, kind of equal. Or some people don't love them equal, you know. Or your husbands or whatever, you know what I mean? Like you could make, let's say you got married 3 times out of your lifetime. Well, you could love each husband differently at a different level. Well, that's kind of like how I found grieving with different situations. So the one time that I was grieving, I felt like I got like hit in the gut, and it was just so painful, and I couldn't breathe. And then the one with my son, when I just cried and I fell to my knees, I just lost my legs, you know, and I just went down. Good thing the wall was there, because I kind of slid down the wall. But I want you not to talk about sad stuff and make it worse for you guys, but I just want you to know, and I used to hate this when somebody died, you know, like a loved one died and somebody comes up to you and they tell you, you know, I'm sorry for your loss. Well, time heals. Oh, I hated that. I never expressed that I hated it, because I knew they were just trying to be kind and they didn't know how to comfort, but I hated that saying. I think I still do. But in a way it is right. Time does heal. It just, time makes it easier, but you will never forget who you lost. You will never forget it. Just like I said when I started this video, sometimes when I stop and think about it, about my son, it feels like it was yesterday. And that was in 1981. And there's times where it just feels like it was just yesterday and I'm against that wall. You know what I mean? So time don't take away the memory of that loved one or the trauma that you had to go through by losing that loved one, because it's trauma. But it does help. It makes you where you can cope. I don't know about anybody out there, but you know, I was probably walking around a year or 2 years, maybe even 3, feeling like a zombie. I had no feelings. I felt like when my son died, I felt like nothing could ever hurt me as bad, because that was so bad. Because I always wanted to be a mom, and I was looking forward to that so much. But yeah, you know, it don't take it away. I mean, but it just makes it easier where you can live and you can move on and you can love and take a chance by putting that guard down, that wall. Because when you get so hurt and your heart gets so broken, sometimes you don't want to let anybody in. It's not just in an abusive relationship, but it's people that died, you know, on somebody that you just don't want to let anybody in, because you don't ever want to hurt like that again. But you can knock down your wall and You do live on, because that's important. They want you to live on. And I understand all that now. But when you're in the middle of it, like how somebody right now might be in the middle of grieving, please, time don't heal, but time helps. Okay? And you will be okay. You will be. It will make you stronger. I know I'm stronger because of that experience. And just remember, your loved ones do want you to be happy again. I remember for a long time, over a year, I would not smile. I would not try to laugh because I felt guilty. And I felt like if I laughed or smiled, had any type of fun, that my son, in some weird way of thinking, my son would think like it didn't matter anymore, like he didn't matter to me. And sometimes you hang on to your pain so much, your misery, you know, you're being so like, you know, sometimes it's hard to let that pain go because you'll feel guilty if you do. But please, they don't want you to feel that way. And that's not healing and helping them either by when they cross over. I understand that now. I was really hard on myself. And I was really hard on my little baby boy to try not to stop grieving. Because if I stop grieving, that means I didn't love him enough or whatever. You know, it's the opposite. It's the opposite. So please remember that. Please find your happiness again. Let people in your heart. It will pass, where it will be easier, but you will never forget them. So you have nothing to feel guilty about. Okay, I hope this video helped a little bit. Because, geez, I can feel it like in my gut. Like, I know how painful it is to lose a loved one. And like I said, I'm so sorry if you're going through that right now. Cry, let it out, even if you have to do it in front of somebody, okay? Like with my son, I had to wait until I was home all by myself to let it out. And you're gonna be all right. There was a moment too, I just thought of this. It was a moment too where I thought if I did let myself cry, I wouldn't be able to stop. You will, okay? So if you're feeling that, you will. You'll be able to stop crying. And trust me, they want you to release that any guilt that you might have, or even to release your grieving process, because they want you to get back to living. That's what's important, okay? They will always be with you. Watch the signs, okay? Life does go on. They're not gone forever. They are around you. Anytime you think of them, or you talk about, you talk to them, or you talk about them, and then when you cross over, when it's time, then you can see them again. Okay? But they are still around you, and they want you to live a full life and enjoy life. It's precious. Okay? This is just an experience that we all have to go through to make us stronger and to make our souls grow. God bless you all. Please pass that white light forward, and I love you all. Thank you. Hang in there. You'll be all right.